Hey, how's it going? Funny Montana here. You know, say hello to the bad guy. Every dog has his day. Just want to give a little update. Um, I guess I'll talk about health first. I'm still pretty bloated, um, or still have a lot of fluid on my body. Trying to get off. I'm finna start. I have a bike. As you can see, I've got all my posters down off my wall. So I guess I'll be out here tomorrow. I gotta, excuse me. It's that fluid, man. Um, I got my cousin coming tomorrow. Um, excuse me. Just got a few clothes. Like I said, my posters, a few shoes. He's gonna let me keep everything over his place until And I think he might let me crash on his couch for a day or two. But again, he's got his own thing going, so I just can't stay there permanently. So trying to figure stuff out. I made a GoFundMe, which I know it's not gonna do anything. I might link it, because who knows? I've seen crazier things happen, so you never know. But yeah, in the meantime, I went to see. I saw Spider Man Brand New Day on Friday release date. Um, I went with somebody because they already had tickets. They're like, "Yeah, you want to check out Spider Man?" Heck yeah, I want to check out Spider Man. It's my favorite, hero. So, that was pretty cool. I liked the movie. Like I said, I gave it a B plus. Thought it was pretty, pretty good. But I'm actually working on a new comic or a new concept. Said I apologize. Just the fluid. Still, it's breaking down, but it's still so much that I gotta just get off my body. But I'm working on a new concept. It's based off Spider-Man, but it's not gonna be Peter Parker. I want to make a kind of different character, but based in the Brooklyn area, or Queens, wherever Spider-Man's from. But I don't want his powers to exactly be like Spider-Man, just kind of based off. Like, of course, I want him to have superhuman reflexes, increased durability, strength, of course. I'm not sure he's gonna be as strong as Spider-Man though, but increased strength, and I want his movement to be a little different. Now, Spider-Man gets web swinging. I was gonna make something like that with my character, but then I was like, yeah, I don't want to copy off of. So I thought it'd be cooler. So I wanted my character to have, he's not a telekinetic like, Jean Grey or Xavier, but I wanted him to have some kind of small telekinetic ability, at least enough to where he can lift like small objects, like he can lift himself. So I thought it'd be cool if instead of swinging, web swinging, or if he's able to just kind of give himself a push, telekinetically in the air, kind of like if you ever played. Oh man, where's that game? Infamous. It was the guy that had the electric powers. I know he used electricity though, so it's a little different. But kind of like him, he had like a double jump, like a way to boost himself up in the air from like static electricity or whatever. And the movement in the game was pretty cool because, I mean, he could glide and he couldn't really fly, but he could glide. Had a super jump, whatever. He could use like power rails, like power lines, to kind of skate on using the electricity built up from him. So my character's gonna be something like that, but just with telekinetic abilities instead. Um, and I wanted to see, this is my countermeasure for him not getting shot. Of course, he's gonna have his suit is gonna be based more tactical. The Spider-Man suit's more like very flexible, you know. So because Spider-Man's movement is basically his reflexes or saves him from being shot and stabbed. My character, even though he's got increased reflexes, I don't want him to be like as sensitive as Spider-Man. So he still wears like a kind of like tactical gear, you know, kind of some badass shit like the Punisher, you know. And he's good with CQC close in combat. So he's gonna be definitely, you know, getting them close. But he also has the ability to create a small telekinetic shield around himself that's strong enough to stop bullets, you know. It won't stop a bomb or something like that. But just say it's a small rounds like a 9mm. He can like, you know, just beep beep beep, kind of like Neo or some stuff, you know, or at least slow him down to where he can get out, dodge him, and get out the way or something. So I'm just working on concepts. I'm finna start drawing it actually. Um, Maybe tomorrow because, like I said, today is just, you know, I just finished cleaning up everything. Got all my posters down, got all this stuff. Got the room ready to do whatever with it. So I wanted to talk real quick about. I thought this would be a cool subject. What is like the first anime or comic that you know, if you're a comic you know fan or anime fan, what got you into it? So I'll tell you what happened with me. Of course, Spider-Man was my very first comic book I ever bought. I still remember this. My mom, we had a grocery. So we had a grocery store in our old town that I grew up in. Was it Piggly Wiggly? I can't remember the name of it. It was it was something else. Anyways, you know, this is back when comics were still sold in stores a lot, and they had a whole comic rack, you know. And I was born in '87, so I'm just throwing my age out there. So this is around like, you know, let's say like 92, 93. Right around the time, you know what? And also, one of my favorite movies is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, I didn't even know they had a comic for the Turtles, and I seen a cartoon for them too. But you know, and the movie was bad. Like the movie was awesome, man. I remember when the movie first came out. My mom took me to the theaters to see it. Oh, dude, it was, man. Like I was like, oh, dude, this is awesome. And Leonardo's always been my favorite turtle because, well, you know, he's smart. I just like his cause he's cool, but he's like also a little dorky. Like he's not mean or anything. Like Raphael's the hard, you know, the kind of the mean one, and you know, of course, Leonardo's the leader. He's always the goody two shoes. And Michelangelo's cool too. He just like to hang out. But like I said, with Donatello, he's cool, like Michelangelo, but also smart. And I just like the bow staff. I just like his weapon. I think that's a cool weapon to have, you know. It's anyways, yeah, I had seen TMNT, but Spider-Man's always my favorite comic. That's my first comic I ever bought. I just remember I was just so mesmerized by the artwork, the pages, you know, the character itself. I was like, oh man, this is, you know, so cool. And I just remember just being hooked on Spider-Man. I don't even like spiders, but you know, it's just I just thought that was one of the coolest characters. And then when I learned more about the character, like I said, his backstory, his power, you know, how he got his powers, and I was like, he's relatable because you know he didn't grow up popular or rich. See, that's the thing with Bruce Wayne. I can't really relate to. You know, Bruce Wayne parents were like billionaires, man. Like, even when they died, you know, and you know, that's messed up. They got killed in front of him. But think about it, Spider-Man's parents are gone too, and his Uncle Ben got shot in front of him. You know, he's lost a lot of people. But the difference is he's still broke, you know. And Bruce Wayne is a billionaire. You know, he had inherited his parents' money. Probably went to the best boarding schools. You know, there really is no way to relate to someone like that. He didn't have to worry about going without food, or because he had Alfred too, you know, his butler. He didn't have to worry about going without food or being, you know, broke and stuff that lower to middle class people have to worry about. Bruce Wayne never had that problem. That is a superpower. Really, is money. You know. Anyways, yeah, Spider Man was the one that got me into comics. Now, what got me to anime? My very first anime I can remember ever seeing, and this is back when we still have video stores. I know you guys remember like Blockbuster. We used to have this one called Imagination Video in my old town. It was real cool, man. You walk in there, they had like this old school looking, you know, with the popcorn makers with the little, would actually pour kernels inside of the machine and it pops, and you can go in there and get as long as you're looking in the store, you can go get, like a little popcorn sack, fill it up, and they had like this little salt shaker, it's cool little, and extra butter or whatever you can put on your popcorn, and you can just eat popcorn walking around the store. And looking back on it, I'm pretty sure it sucked working there because I know they had to vacuum up a lot of dang popcorn. Maybe not now because if we still had video stores, they would definitely have like those automatic little robot vacuums going. But I think about it now because I remember one time I had a whole bag of popcorn, dude, just spilled it. Come here, I'm a kid, bro. I'm like, 4 or 5, whatever. And I was like, damn, I'm spilling. So I just got more. And it was like, I bet the guys at the front, I think about it now, like, son of a bastard, little bitch. But anyways, my very first anime I can remember ever seeing was called Bubblegum Crisis. It was I think it came out, I'm pretty sure Bubblegum Crisis came out in the 80s before I was born. I remember it was on VHS. Usually when we went to the video stores, I would get games. I like games, man. My very first system was the SNES. The very first system I played was my cousin. My cousin had so my mom used to work evenings, and sometimes, this is before I got old enough to stay by myself, she trusted me to stay alone. I would ride the bus after school to my cousin to his house because his mom worked like, it was like some kind of weird evening shift. Like she didn't go into like late in the evening, like 8 o'clock or something. Anyways, and my mom got off around like 5 o'clock or something, right? So I had like 2 hours. Cause we used to get out of school at 3, so And he had an NES, man. He had a bunch of games. He had like Mario Brothers, Super Punch Out, like dang, Dig Dug. I mean, Dig Dug used to be cool. And dude, that's my first. Now I had seen games before, like in like Pizza Hut, the little arcade games and stuff like that. And back when we had the mall, mall stuff popping, they had a whole little big old arcade section full of arcade cabinets, man. So I had seen arcade games before, but that's my first time actually experiencing a home console game. And so, yeah, man, I just remember I getting hooked on Mario and some other games. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. It's like you can play the arcade game at home. So that was just like my first time ever being exposed to that. So usually we went to the video stores. I would play, rent a game, but anyways, for some reason, sometimes I rent a movie, and I just happened to see the artwork on that Bubblegum Crisis and thought it looked cool, so I went ahead and rented it, and it was a pretty cool little anime. It's about like 3, I guess they're like special agents. I'm not sure what they are, like some kind of special government agents, and they fight like these giant mech monsters, but they have mech suits that they kind of like power into, and that helps them, gives them enhanced abilities and stuff. So I thought that was cool. And then after that, man, I remember in the summertime I used to stay with another cousin of mine, and so this is back on cable. We had cable, but we didn't have, certain places had different channels. Like this is before like Cartoon Network and like let's say Sci-Fi got big, and you could it's only certain places that got those channels. My cousin had Sci-Fi. I remember on Saturdays they would always show, and it was like super early in the morning, like maybe 5 or 6 in the morning. They would show anime movies, like dubs. Cause I remember watching Akira for the first time on Sci-Fi, Demon City, Shinjuku, man, a few more, and yeah, that's what got me hooked on anime though. Was like I said, basically Bubblegum Crisis is my first anime I ever watched, and then seeing those on Sci-Fi, I was like, oh, dude, because this is before Toonami came out on when Toonami came out for Cartoon Network. That's when I think anime really blew up in the West. Um, especially with Dragon Ball Z. I already known about Dragon Ball Z actually before Toonami, because when I was a kid, of course, man, I didn't have a computer. Like you're like, what? Yeah, this is before like the internet got like just blew up like it did. Only people with money can afford, because computers were like high back then. The internet wasn't as cheap or whatever. And so I used to have this guy in my class. He used to he had a printer too, just not just a computer. And so he would print out he would sell little printouts of like different anime characters. And I remember Dragon Ball Z was some of the characters he had. And that's just back when like I said, this was coming into drawing as well. I just thought the characters looked so cool. He was selling for like, a quarter, because I'm like, dude, I'm here buying like little quarter printouts to draw, and I had like a whole folder full of them too. Like, I'm not lying, I used to give him $1 and pick out 4, like almost every day or every other day or something. My mom gave me $1 or whatever. But yeah, that's what got me into anime though. So I guess Spider-Man got me into comics. And Bubblegum Crisis got me into anime, and Akira, some other older school animes. Um, and yeah, I've just been hooked ever since, man. So I wonder, what's your first anime? And you know what? And there's a big difference too. You can definitely tell a difference between, let's just say, like 80s anime. Just besides the clothing and hairstyles, but just the way it seemed like it was like way more detailed back then. See, nowadays, man, anime is like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's way more visually, because we got digital tools we can use to make the colors really pop and do all these cool visual effects. But back then, dude, I mean, I could just imagine how hard it was to have to draw all that by hand and add all the details. Like, holy crap. Cause you could tell anime made a big switch from like the 80s, the 90s. It kind of started getting more. I'm not gonna say simplified, but more like it is nowadays. Like almost every anime looks basically alike. I mean, let's be honest. It's not too much difference between you know most of these shows, besides the characters' names and stuff. But but yeah, I definitely like the '80s style better, and even some early '90s stuff too. The early '90s anime, the late '90s is when it started going towards, like I said, how anime is now. 2000 and on, but the early '90s, '80s, that was something that was like peak. Like peak anime. Um, Animation right there, man. So yeah, I just wonder if you have any favorites, any favorite comics that got you in the comics, um, any favorite animes, shows. Like I said, TMNT, the Turtles. That would be my favorite, because, like I said, I had a bunch of toys, games from the Ninja Turtles. The cartoon, the cartoon was cool, but it just wasn't. It was cool. It just, for some reason, TMNT it's a cool concept. I like the show. The characters, like they're making a game based off the Last Ronin, which is a comic series that they had came out with, where basically all the other turtles are almost dead except for one, and he's going to shut down. I'm not gonna tell you which turtle survives in case you've never seen it or read the comic, but the Last Ronin is basically the last turtle, and they're trying to shut down the Foot Clan for good, And the Foot Clan is led by Shredder's daughter now, Karai, I think her name is. And so they're trying to like shut down the Foot, finally get them, you know, Uh, just finally get them out the not just out the just completely eradicated. But anyways, I'm just ranting right now. But yeah, any favorite animes, you can let me know. If not, that's cool. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe if you want. And yeah, keep an eye out for. I'm gonna release part two on my The Girl in White little short concept story thing. I already recorded the audio. I was gonna draw some more pictures for it or sketches at least, just to kind of switch it up. But I might just reuse the same sketch until I get, because like I said, I gotta move tomorrow and do a lot of stuff. I wanted to release it tonight, really. So I don't know. I might have to just draw something later for it. But I'm still working on my concept for the Spider-Man spinoff, and I got a cool name for him too. But I'm not even gonna say the name until I actually finish drawing the design. But I think it's gonna be really cool. Might be. Hey, who knows? It might be the next big superhero, spinoff show or whatever. I doubt it. And I might link my GoFundMe, maybe not. I don't think people even care. But never know unless you try, right? But God bless. Try to keep God on your mind, work hard, grind. And I guess me and my tenor are out. Every dog has his day. Let me tell you something, man. I'm the bad guy, okay? Say hello to the bad guy.